Hey guys, so as I'm sure you're all aware by now, I absolutely love playing Warhammer 40k kill teams. And this is the kill zone board that I play on. As you can see, loads of different sort of spaceships merged into one here. And all these tiles are by the very talented Fabricators Layer. There's a link down below, guys, go check them out. And as you can see, it's all magnetised, which makes changing this board just so easy. So I have a few favourite teams to play with. I was currently playing with the Legionaries, as you can see them on the board there. But the other team I really enjoyed is these, the Custodes. This was a team that I sort of kitbashed some time ago. And as you can see, magnetised their arms, just so I could swap out, well, they now have two sort of weapons. Rather this sort of big shooty thingy, or they have a sword. So yes, I gave magnetised arms, but I sold these fellows over on eBay about a month ago. And I really fancied playing them again. So that's exactly what I'm doing here, doing a bit more kit bashing. And I really like the look of the Ogryns as well. They're nice, big and chunky. They're on 40mm bases, so they're the perfect base. And yeah, they just look brutes of things, as Custodes are kind of tanks. So I reached out to my local game shop, which happened to be, well, the game shop in Aldershot. Only about 30 minutes away from me, which is pretty awesome. And asked if they'd be up for a little collaboration, where in return for sending me some Ogryns, I'd obviously, well, mention them in this video. And they very kindly said yes and sent me a couple of boxes. And as you can see, it's a lovely big shop, a whole variety of, well, all kinds of games, Funko Pops, Pokemon cards even. Yeah, tons of stuff there, so go check them out, link down below. And they also have a large room where they do, well, lots of games, which is pretty awesome. So we'll be doing another video, guys. I'm going to go down there, have a good old mooch around and do some videoing. So they ordered it in and sent me, yeah, these two lovely boxes. Obviously 2 figures in each. And the Custodes team, well, we need 4. Let's see if I can actually get in the box. Yeah, a bit of a struggle there, but obviously good old knife. Well, that'll cut through anything. So yeah, so these guys, I don't know if you've ever played Kill Team, but the Custodes, so there's only 4 of them to a kill team, so it's nice and small, very easy to manage. But yeah, they are just built like tanks and obviously quite difficult to kill. So that's kind of why I love the look of these guys as well. They are just big and beefy. So yeah, so this obviously comes with the 2 in there, 2 different options to how they're built. Obviously come with the bases, but we kind of know I don't use the bases when I'm playing the actual games, as I like nice clear bases just because, well, I want to see the board that I've built underneath. So I had a kind of a rough idea of, well, what I wanted to do with these chaps. So it was a case of the usual thing, cutting them off the sprue. I was just going to assemble or part assemble parts of the body. As I say, I knew I was going to do some kit bashing, maybe even a bit of green stuff and all that. But yeah, usual sort of thing, cut them off, give them a bit of a tidy up, and then just start gluing bits together. Yeah, my preferred method is the old Tamiya extra thin, just because I really like the stuff, and say having a little brush makes things nice and easy and, well, generally clean. So there was kind of one issue that I kind of came across when I was obviously building these, and that is, well, there's only the 2 different types. So not really a lot of options when I want to have 4 that look kind of different. And so the problem I had is when I looked at the this box set, online it said that I could make up all the ones that were originally in the Slave Ogryn gang. And obviously, as you can see here, there's 6 figures, all different looking. But this is a discontinued box, so I couldn't get hold of it anymore. But as I say, unfortunately, I read somewhere online that you could turn the other ones into, well, all of these. Well, obviously I misread that. So I quickly jumped on Amazon and bought a box of these, the Ogryns. Just sort of mix it up a little bit. Plus, I like the fact that obviously the nice big shields on these, and I like their sort of arms that are kind of built into the weapons. So yeah, I thought that'd be quite cool. So again, I had a rough idea what I was going to kit bash these guys into, but then yeah, partway through it completely changed, and yes, I got a set of these. And again, obviously these guys are, well, Ogryns, I think they're the same sort of thing. I'm not all too sure, because again, I don't really know much about the factions, lore, and all the rest of it when it comes to Warhammer. I just know, well, which miniatures I like the look of. But say yeah, definitely wanted to get the shield involved, as I want to have one of my guys, well, the captain, the leader, and I want him to be a shielded person. So this one obviously came with different sort of legs as well, which is quite cool. But I loved the torsos from the original box. So keeping the original torsos, it is a case of, obviously this is where the kit bashing comes in. It is a case of doing a little bit of cutting here and there. But luckily the plastic that these miniatures are made of is nice and soft, so use them in little clippers Yeah, it didn't take much to sort of snip away. And obviously whenever I'm doing these kind of things, in my head I am thinking any sort of gaps that are here and there, yeah, I'm just going to fill them with some green stuff, well, later on, if they don't get filled up with other bits and pieces. So I do love big fists, I'll have to admit. Yeah, big, chunky, makes them look even more menacing. So the fact he's got like a big chunky fist there, and obviously his arm inner weapon, yeah, it just makes these really look very brutish. Absolutely love them. So I actually painted these up yesterday morning, and I played a game last night. And I say, because these guys are on 40mm bases, when you use them with the into the dark terrain, they really do take up a lot of room, which is great because it means I can block passageways and stuff. So yeah, my poor mate that I played against, yeah, he kind of got a bit slaughtered. Although again, sometimes it is down to the luck of the dice, and yeah, they were definitely, I think, in my favour. So I was absolutely loving putting these together, and I say, yeah, these come out much better than I originally planned and thought about. Mixing them with the Ogryns was definitely a winner. I say, big power fists and a built-in weapon gun is just amazing. But yeah, don't forget guys, obviously I only play this casually with a mate, so we go by the rule of cool. So yeah, models and miniatures don't need to be too precise, which is pretty cool. So the other thing I want to do, obviously give them some pauldrons and a cloak. Yeah, I kind of envisage these now as being almost Roman centurions. Obviously rather large, ugly, brutish Roman centurions. But yeah, that's what I went with. So these bits are 3D printed. I went online and got them from, well, My Mini Factory is one of my favourite places to go. And I got these ones from Grey Tide Studios. Again guys, link will be down below. And as you can see, they do a whole variety of sort of like extra add-on bits and pieces for, well, all your miniatures. Obviously in my case, my sort of Warhammer stuff. But yeah, a whole variety of weapons, heads, shoulder pads, cloaks, basically everything you need to sort of like, well, do an awesome bit of kit bashing. So yeah, highly recommend going and have a look at these ones. So I downloaded them and then printed them out on a new printer I just recently got, which is the Elegoo Saturn 3. Absolutely gorgeous printer, and yeah, you'll probably see this quite a bit soon because I've been printing lots with it. So it all came out really well. Yeah, it was just a case of obviously gluing bits on, but obviously using normal glue, as the cement glue won't, well, just won't stick the resin to anything. So again, usual sort of stuff, a little bit of cutting here and there, because obviously these cloaks, they kind of like fray out at the bottom, or spray out. I don't know, you know what I mean. They go out at the bottom. So yeah, I need to sort of cut away a little bit of his back, just so the cape went down nice and flat, and then had its little kink at the bottom. So because these guys are pretty large, they really do take up a lot of the 40mm base. In fact, they pretty much were the full sort of size, which makes it quite funny when you're playing Kill Team and you're trying to put these guys against walls, or even just walking down the corridors. They are literally just fitting inside the walls, which was quite funny. And in fact, the game I played last night, I did use these. It's almost like playing American football. I use these as kind of blockers. So me and my mate, we play a game, but we play capture the flag. So obviously you flag in the middle, and then you got to run, grab it, and then you got to take it into the opponent's side, but then obviously end up with it in the opponent's side. So I was lucky enough to be able to grab the flag first, run off with it, and then yeah, I kind of used the other three of these dudes just as blockers, which really worked, obviously well in my favour, but not so much for my mate. So yeah, this is where I say, when you put in doing a bit of kit bashing and putting things together, you don't have to worry too much about everything lining up, because good old green stuff does a great job of filling bits in. I'm still not that good at using this stuff, because I really don't use it a whole lot, or if I do, it literally is to fill a hole. Whereas obviously in this case, I want to try and make it so it looks like part of the cloak. I didn't do too bad a job, or at least I didn't think I did too bad a job, until you see right at the end when I actually come to paint the things. Then it's a case of, yeah, I should have blended it in a bit more, or possibly sanded it a bit more. As you can sort of see the difference between what I've done and how the cloak kind of looks. But on the whole, say I'm still happy with how it looks. I enjoyed doing it, which is, again, it's always the main thing. You really need to enjoy what you're doing. And I say, yeah, I was loving making these, because obviously I love how they look, and I know that I enjoy playing these guys. So there's only a few kill teams I actually like playing. Legionaries are definitely one of them. Obviously the Custodes being the other. And then I do like the one that I've just suddenly forgotten, the dancing ones. Yeah, I'll have to come back to you on that one. My brain has gone blank. I can't think of the ones that I'm thinking of, but yeah. Anywho, back to the video. So yeah, so I didn't think I did a too bad a job. It's only when I come to paint the thing at the very end that I kind of noticed how bad it was. So yeah, using a good old matte black primer from the Colourforge, as yeah, this is the one I've been using now for about a good month or so. And say honestly, I've used a whole variety of different black primers, and this one has got to be the mattest black out of all of them. It really does, just it dries perfectly. There's no shine or sheen or whatever you want to say. This is, yeah, this is a super matte paint. Goes on really well, as you can see, and yeah, dries a treat. I just love it. Again, link in the description, guys, where you can go and get this stuff. And there we go, some nice big beefy custodes ready for, well, bit of slap chopping. As I think we all know by now, this is my go-to. I do occasionally mix it up and try and do a little bit of edge highlighting and all the rest, but yeah, slap chop is the way to go. And yeah, we start with a bit of dry brushing, and you may have seen these in a recent video, and this is the Artis Opus Fauxhammer Essentials set. And yeah, it really is well, all you need. There's two lovely dry brushes, and you also get this little moistener pad. I'm sure, oh, dampening pad, that's what it's called, but yeah, dampening, moistening. Just because obviously when you're meant to be doing dry brushing, the brush, it helps if it's a little bit moist, because then you get a nice smoother sort of dry brush as opposed to it being chalky. So anyone new to the Slapchop painting technique, well, where have you been? Are you an alien from another planet? Yeah, all it essentially is getting your miniature, priming them in black, then doing some dry brushing in grey. As you can see now, I am getting a bit clever, and I'm using my little moistening pad, or dampening pad even. Keep saying moistening pad. Tomato. And then yeah, dry brushing with grey. But obviously I've got my textured dry brush palette here, and this obviously gets or removes a lot of the grey off of it. So when I do come to brush my miniature, I've got, well, the perfect amount really. And then yeah, it really is that simple. You just dry brush the miniature all over. And the good thing here is obviously any areas you can't get to, well, they're just going to stay nice and dark, which, well, they kind of should do, because obviously it means if you can't get to it, it means it's hidden by other bits and pieces. So yeah, good old dry brushing with grey. Let that obviously fully dry, and then do exactly the same sort of method with white. And yeah, you end up with this, which is a nice sort of black and white grayscale looking, well, miniature, which is then a great base to use the Army Painter speed paints over the top. So yeah, absolutely love how these have come out. So thank you to Ross over at Fauxhammer for sending me the Essential Artist Opus set, because, well, it's absolutely gorgeous. Say, lovely little box, and it is the essential kit of what you need. Two lovely dry brushes, and then three lovely other brushes that you use to obviously do normal painting with. So yeah, awesome. Again, link down below, guys, go check them out. And obviously my little textured palette here, if you want to get hold of this one, yeah, it's on my Patreon page, just as an STL to download. So these guys are now ready for, say, using the old Army Painter speed paints. So I'm going to kind of paint these obviously because they are looking rather like Roman sort of centurions, and that's kind of obviously the feel I was going for, just because, well, I absolutely love Romans. So yeah, having them sort of look that way is perfect. So trying to sort of stick with the colour schemes of the Roman centurions. Good old red cloak. Yes, I did have a comment on one of my my images recently about someone saying they were having problems getting the same sort of results as I do when I use the Slapchop painting technique. And I did mention to them that as much or as good as obviously the Army Painter speed paints are, some of their paints do work better than others. So yes, it is worth sort of going through the paints and picking the ones that you sort of particularly like and using them more than others. Definitely when it comes to the browns, there's a few browns I always use, and there's certain browns that I never use because, well, they kind of go on, but they look more like a normal sort of brown, as opposed to having that lovely sort of, well, looking darker in the recesses, lighter in the sort of raised areas, and then a real sort of like highlight edge on the, well, funny enough, the edges. Yeah, so with the gold, again, the gold, this is the Army Painter Speed Paint one, goes on an absolute treat, really covers very nice, but as you can see, it doesn't really have the same sort of effect as the other speed paints, as in this one almost looks like a single colour, which it kind of does really. So that's why with the gold, again, I always use it because it covers so much nicer than a lot of the other golds I've used or had, but I will use a wash over the top of it. So let me know in the comments down below, guys, how you've got on with using the speed paints in sort of the Slapchop paint technique. So obviously the speed paints, they go on perfectly well over a white primed miniature, but I do find that doing the old dry brushing underneath just really sort of helps them along a little bit. So as I was just mentioning then, one of the browns that I really like using, and that's this one, it's Fire Drake, and yeah, so it just goes on really nice. And it really does sort of show the 3 different sort of shades that you can get with the speed paints. So yeah, so that, guys, it definitely is worth going through the speed paints you've got, or even the contrast paints. And I'm sure you'll find the same with all of them sort of kind of paints. There are some that do seem to work better than others. So yeah, that's why I say I tend, even though I've got, I don't know, I've got about 7 or 8 different browns, there's probably only, or probably about 2 or 3 that I sort of generally use, as they do sort of give the best results. And I find the very same with the greens that I use. So yeah, so if you do feel like you're not getting the sort of same results I'm getting, or results that you're not sort of as happy with, yeah, it is worth trying out the different paints, and then say you will end up having your favourites. And here we go, they are almost done, and say I'm absolutely loving how these came out. Yeah, big, chunky, nice, fast, easy paint job that I'm very happy with. And I say just going to use a bit of a wash over the gold bits here, and the silver again. The silver. So there are obviously, I think, is it 10 different metallic paints that the Army Painter doing the speed paints. I've only got the original 3 that came out, and so that the coverage, they cover it really nice. But yeah, I do generally put some sort of wash over them just to give them that well, that sort of better look really. Plus, if you've watched a lot of my videos, you will know I do love washes, and prior to any speed paints, yeah, I would chuck on a lot of wash, just because I like my miniatures to have that worn sort of look, a bit of grim dark. So this is where I am again doing a little bit more than Slapchop, and so with the skin colour, it's another colour that can sometimes look a little bit dark. So I am just going over this, and it's not exactly painting, is it the stippling? Just doing like little dots here and there. Again, something I've not really done much of, but really enjoy it. It just gives the well, it gives the model that bit more of a better look, really. So that's the thing I've always said about Slapchop paint technique. It really is like a great base, or a great way to start. It'll get your miniatures on the table looking half decent, or in some cases very decent. And then yeah, when you've got the time, you can sort of do highlighting. Obviously, the bit of stippling I do here. I do a little bit of dry brushing as well, and generally do that over, well, metallic areas, just to make it look like they're a little bit worn and sort of weathered and bashed. So even though I painted this gold, I am doing dry brushing with a bit of silver, just obviously hitting the edges, or trying to hit just the edges. Sometimes I get a bit carried away, and yeah, it just gives it a bit more of a worn, weathered look. And I say that is kind of my sort of go-to and, well, yeah, preferred look really. So I got these painted yesterday morning, say just in time for my game last night. I was going to attempt doing the eyes, but as we all know, eyes, I hate doing eyes. I had contemplated giving these guys some helmets, but then I thought, no, I like the idea that these are Ogryns. I love the sort of look of the Ogryn look. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I will go back at a later stage, and I'm going to try my best to do the eyes. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't tend to use the bases that come with the miniatures. Well, definitely not the ones that I use in games. I prefer to use nice clear bases, as yeah, I've made the sort of the terrain for them to go on. I wanna see it. So these I get from Fluid 3D Workshop, and I do a whole variety of thicknesses, sizes, and shapes. So yeah, go check them out, guys. So just before we see these guys in all their glory, so I want to say a big shout out and thank you again to the game shop in Aldershot for kindly sending me these miniatures, and I look forward to popping down there and having a good old mooch around and doing some video, well, very soon. there we go, my lovely kit-bashed Ogryn Custodes. I say, love how they look, love how they played last night, and yeah, I can't wait to, well, to have more fun with these guys. Let me know in the comments, guys, if there's any kind of, well, kill teams or any kind of teams or figures you think I should have a go at kit bashing. As, yeah, this is something I really love doing, and I've definitely now got more and more bits and pieces to kit bash with. And to say, the fact you can sort of 3D print parts, yeah, it means the kit bashing can be taken, well, so much further. Just want to say a big shout out to all my lovely patrons and Chaos Cards and the Colour Forge for helping support the channel. Don't forget to check out the links down below, guys. And you can get a 5% discount on the miniatures from Chaos Cards using my discount code down below. There's another video on the screen, guys. Give that a click, see more of what I do. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.